It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
We on a mission and that's bringing y'all the truth. You know the problem, but we get into the root. The devil watching, yeah, he always on pursuit. But Jesus is our rock, so we shall not be moved. We on a winning team, so we can't lose. We say facts, cause we hitting y'all with proof. Started from the bottom, now we standing on the roof. As God as our witness, we gon' make it to the moon. When you want the truth, the world be hiding it. This the real word, we providing it. We got Ace, BK, Truth, Rick Star, and we plan to make a movie like it's Pixar. We came a long way from the plantation. We just tryna save your souls from damnation. So if you down with the message, tune in every week. It will lead you to the message that you seek.
It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word. It's the real word.
Everybody that's been supporting, welcome to the Real Word Season 9 Episode 14.
Thank you to the game.
So we thank all you that's been out there supporting everything that we've been doing so far. Shout out to everyone that has helped us to get this far so far. I'm here with my partner and co-host. Introduce yourself.
You know, it's me, Kimmel Hall, brother from another mother. We out here in Brooklyn representing for the Kings.
All right. And we got two special new guests with us today. Introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Whoever comes first, Up, you're on the screen. You gotta go first, I guess.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Edward,
God,
it is.
I can see me in the background. I need better lighting. My name's Edward. I'm an author. I wrote Cancer, Musical Theater, and Other Chronic Illnesses, which is available at Barnes & Noble and about 40 other retailers online. It is about it is a cancer, I just rephrased this not too long ago. It is a fantasy nonfiction about, a fantasy nonfiction musical theater fever dream about being a cancer patient and survivor.
Okay, cool.
I want to hear about that.
All right. And our other guest says, introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, hi. My name is Amrit Singh, and I'm a Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. I've been practicing this for 30 years now. And now I work as a life coach, and that's where my passion lies.
And you're joining us from Mexico, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I live in Mexico with my Mexican wife and my two children here in Valle de Bravo.
Amen.
All right. And Edward, where are you joining us from?
New York, guys. I'm up in Washington Heights.
You didn't hear theaters?
Oh,
man.
wow.
You should have known. He said theaters. He was
Wow, we from Brooklyn.
Where else would I be?
Yeah.
And we from Brooklyn, man.
Yeah.
I'm right off the A train.
Okay.
181.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I used to work on 165th by Fort Washington. I used to work over
that's
there.
where I'm at. I used to live at 163 in Fort Washington like 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're neighbors at one point.
No, I used to work at that shelter, the big shelter by Fort Washington across the street from New York Presbyterian.
Oh yeah, like the it's not the Armory, is it?
Yeah, it is the Armory. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was just down there. That's my voting poll site.
That's my boy.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
All right. So how do you pronounce the name? Amrit? Amrit? Sorry,
Amrit.
Amrit. So
Amrit.
Amrit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Amrit.
Oh, we didn't toast, man. Toast.
Toast.
Oh, I already toasted.
Oh.
No.
One more toast for the room.
Isn't it bad luck to toast with water? Is that what we're doing?
Nah, we accept all. We accept all. We just took it
Yeah,
all.
I stopped drinking a little bit ago, so I'm kind of like.
We could talk
Then
about
it's good
that.
luck for you to toast with water.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Although I've been having an itch lately. I'm kind of like, should I go have Manhattans?
Damn, I feel like a bad influence.
No, it's not you. It's the little bitch in my head that's like, go have a Manhattan. You'll be fine.
Wow.
I mean, you are in Manhattan.
Hello.
Manhattan. All right. So Amrit, you could say that you stick out the most to us within this conversation. So tell us more about what it is that you do and your lifestyle, because it's very different. The beard, the hat, the calm presence, the birds chirping in the background, everything.
I've been practicing yoga and meditation for 30 years now, and for me, it has replaced what it was before I started yoga and meditation, which was just a shit ton of weed and alcohol.
My brother.
That's what connected me with my spiritual essence. And I was like, oh, amazing. I solved the universe. All I have to do is smoke more weed and I'll be more spiritual. Unfortunately, that wasn't sustainable because I ended up being stoned
too much.
A couple years straight. And nothing changed ever. It was always the same.
I like that you brought this up.
That was frustrating, because I felt so spiritual inside with my weed smoking, but on the outside world, nothing happened because I just sat around and ate candy and chips and watched TV.
So, I mean, honestly, that sounds like a great day off.
It was so peaceful, right?
It was a great 5 years off, I must admit. It was not a bad time, but it was a little bit like, I had that itch where I'm like, okay, that's it now? That's it for the next 40, 50, 60 years?
It's gonna get boring, right?
And I realized it wasn't. Because when I stopped and I started practicing meditation, I was able to go to the same depth of what I got from the drugs, but without the hangover, without the side effects, without the itch 3 hours later to do some more because the first one is wearing off. And so that was a big breakthrough for me because I actually ended up with more energy and more expansion in myself. I want to say that though, and put that in perspective as, I'm not saying smoking weed is bad, don't get me wrong. I actually think there is benefits in it.
Balance.
But I think the problem people have, especially with weed, is they all overdose. And you feel that when you smoke and suddenly all you can do is sit and stare, right? And so that's the overdose.
Yeah.
The right dose for smoking weed is that point which you almost don't feel it, but you feel higher than when you started. And that effect can really have a beneficial effect on your creativity, on your energy levels, on your expansion of your aura, on the stimulation of your chakras. And it can be really a profound, deep healing inside of you. But it's a little bit like with alcohol, we talked about in the beginning, that one sip of wine or that little bit in a cup of wine can actually be beneficial for your health. When you drink 2-3 glasses a day, you're having a crutch. And that crutch is alcohol because without the crutch, you can't operate.
Life is about balance.
It was never just one glass of wine. It was like, okay, well, the bottle's open, so.
It gets stale if you don't drink it all,
So Edward,
that's only red.
So Edward, you said that you had stopped drinking. Did you battle with alcohol addiction in the past, or did you just choose to wind down on the drinking?
Well, I mean, you guys know, all New Yorkers are basically functioning alcoholics in the first place. We run on that shit, Every time you step out the front door, it's like, what bar are we going to?
Where's the happy hour?
Let's just grab a drink. Exactly. On every corner at every hour.
Especially in Manhattan.
Oh, girl, Manhattan, I can't even. But,
yes.
I wouldn't say that it was a problem per se, because it didn't ever affect my life. Until it did. And really what made me realize that truly was shutdown. Shutdown really stepped on the gas with that. Prior to 2019, I was running myself ragged all over the place, and I said to one of my best friends, I was just like, I am scared. I don't know how to stop. I am doing too much on the hamster wheel, and I don't know how to get off, and I'm afraid of what's going to happen. And alcohol is just a small part of that.
Light down.
But when shutdown happened and we had nothing else to do and no one needed me, no one needed me to be anywhere, I didn't have to do anything, which was great, then it was well, how many bottles can I finish this week? And then it just started to become more and more of a pastime thing to do because there wasn't anything else to do.
You was pushing yourself, man. I get
Yeah. So like, then my doctor was like, "Bitch, you gotta stop." And so
the doctor said it.
I do like little pockets. I'll do like 100 days here, 100 days there, and then I'll break it. Like I did 200 days last year, then I went to Europe for 3 weeks, and there was no way I was going to Paris without drinking. So,
of course, I think I've been to Europe, and I know they're heavy on the beers, and yeah, they're drinkers. They're happy.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was really weird about like drinking culture in Europe was that like, you know how when any bar that you go to here, you can walk in and be like, "Hey, I'll have a Negroni, or I'll have a Manhattan, or I'll have a old fashioned or something."
Yeah, old fashioned is my drink.
Yeah, man, but I mean, like in Europe, London specifically, you can't go into any bar and order one. You have to go specifically to a cocktail bar. Because they don't just carry like your regular run-of-the-mill bar. I went in and I asked for a Manhattan, and the bartender was like, "No."
They didn't know what it was.
No, they do, but they don't. They won't make them.
Oh.
It's just well drinks, beer, and wine at like your regular bar. If you want a cocktail, you have to go to a cocktail bar.
Interesting.
When the Zoom, if the Zoom's to cut off, you could just log back in with the same code because we have the 30-minute intervals on the Zoom.
Yeah, we got commercials.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we're all here from diverse backgrounds, and we are on the show called The Real Word. So The Real Word was created in order for us to bring people from different backgrounds all together so we could speak about different things. And even us right now on this platform, we have different areas of expertise, but at the same time, we have a lot of things to share. So we spoke about reaching a point of enlightenment and finding peace within self, where we don't have to rely upon substances and things of that nature. So Edward, what helped you find that peace? And then we're gonna go to Amrit.
You gonna butcher this man?
Okay, thank you. About the same subject. So I see you have some interesting art behind you. So does that have to do with your personality?
Oh yeah, speak about the book also, the theater or the
Yeah. So I mean, I've always been. I grew up in an artsy house. Like I grew up around music and art and all kinds of stuff like that. And it was such a dichotomy because I also played football. So it was kind of like, what do I do with all of this information?
What path?
Yeah.
Football, I can relate, man.
I can't. I wasn't good at it. I was on the team. I was the left tackle because I took up space, and that's about all I got.
Hey, everybody is needed on the field, man. Everybody is needed. The left tackle, like the most important to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Blindside.
But yeah, so I did a lot as a kid. I had a lot of different interests and activities that I did, but I ended up just going with music and theater because that's what I knew best. That's been in my house since I was a baby. So, moving to New York to pursue those things just made sense right after high school, right? So I didn't go to college, and I was just like, deuces, I'm out, I'm going to go to the city. And
I'm going to work on my artistic career, yeah.
Right. So I was fortunate enough to be able to work as an actor for over a decade, and, that's kind of where I was right at a swoop up in my performing career right when cancer happened, and so that was like a whole learning curve as well, where it's like, well, I guess...
You talking prostate cancer? My father had...
No, lymphoma.
Okay. My father had passed from prostate cancer.
Yeah, so it was kind of like it was really just like the rug getting ripped out from under you and not being able to have the life that you thought you were going to have. And then, like, where I'm at now, 10 years cancer-free, looking back, just, like, I would so much rather have this version of my life than whatever I thought I was going to have back then. So, like, this is better. And I think with time, having a perspective of being someone who survived a rare cancer, like, being able to look at it and be like, you know what, this is better, instead of being angry about the life I didn't have and being upset and bitter that, like, oh, I could have had this kind of career. Like, I'm about to have a billboard in Times Square with my book for next month.
Impressed.
And that never would have happened if I didn't have cancer, or if I would have continued the career that I thought I was going to have, back when I was a little baby.
Testimony, right? And gratefulness. I hear that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it sounds so weird to say, but, like, cancer is the best thing that ever happened to me.
My father said that too. I'm not gonna lie. He said that same thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it slaps you around and it really gives you a different kind of perspective.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, wow, this is real. Life is real, and
Gotta
you
get,
have to do it.
you gotta
have
be
to
grateful for
participate.
this life. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's real.
I had a cousin that beat cancer. He went to Cornell University and became a mechanical engineer.
Took his life more. Yeah.
I'm curious, what did you do to change your life that drastically that you were able to make the change?
I mean, I wasn't a cunt anymore, because I certainly was beforehand.
You got tendencies, huh?
Like, I mean, truly, I just wasn't, I look back at some of the things that I would have said or done to people, and I just wasn't an agreeable person. I thought I knew everything, and I was kind of a jerk to people, and so that was one of the things that was kind of like, oh, and then also watching my friends and family show up for me and be there for me. It was kind of like this moment of feeling deserving when I didn't feel deserving, and kind of trying to learn how to, and I still am not good at this, where, you know, the receiving part of it, like, I can give and give and give, and that's no issue at all, and I love doing it. It's part of my love language. But like, if someone tries to give to me or make me receive something that I would have to feel worthy of or deserve it of, then I kind of have an issue. There's like a block where I'm like, okay, no, I don't have to do that.
Hey,
So I don't think there was any particular kind of thing that I did. It was kind
That's pretty big.
It was like, well, sure, but it's like, it wasn't anything that I was like, I'm going to go do this. It was just kind of something that happened that I realized that, you know, I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Powerful.
Yes.
So what about you? Have you been this way your entire life, or you had
No,
life
I grew up a normal teenager in Germany.
What is a normal teenager in Germany? You played sports or?
Smoke a lot of weed and go partying
Oh wow.
6 times a week. So that
Yeah,
was
that sounds
kind of
fun.
my life back in the day.
Yeah.
And then at some point I was just kind of, you know, this is getting too much. And when the harder drugs got introduced and other people were getting into that, and I felt myself being swept in that direction very quickly, I was like, if I don't get out of this now, I'm gonna
In trouble.
you know, be the one leading the pack. And so I just jumped and I got on a plane, flew to India, and started working at an international boarding school there, and ended up living there for 20 years.
Wow.
Interesting. Drastic change.
So you're originally from Germany. You started working in India, and now you live in Mexico.
Correct, yeah.
My guy he makes change when he needs to make change.
So what do you
Map
feel?
the world, guys.
So what do you feel like the biggest change came in your life, Amrit?
The biggest change yet. Oh my God, it's a lot. You know, I'm almost 50. There's a lot of change which happened over the years. I think for me personally, it was probably when my first child was born, because that kind of changed the view of the world and my priorities, and then, you know, why I do what I do. And
I relate.
It's funny because it sounds so generic. You know?
No. I relate. It's the truth. Yes, I've just had
kind of like
daughter.
it got me to grow up, and I think that was a big one. You know, because I think for all of us guys more than the ladies, it's really a challenge to grow up because we do not have these initiation rituals. You know, like for young women, they get that initiation when they realize, oh my God, I can have a baby inside of me.
Yeah, they know that they get the plan, you know.
Yeah, it's real. For us being 18, 19, I mean, we're just a bunch of dickheads. You know,
Amen to that.
So, you know, it takes years. For me, it was in my 30s when I had my daughter, and that really changed it for me.
I know what I might be like. I might grow the beard out like them. I just had my daughter. I'm 31.
So tell us about the beard and the hat. Like,
Oh, the hat is a turban. I don't know if you can see it. Like, look, it has like this wrap and looks
Oh,
like
it's
this
a wrap.
wrap.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah.
And the turban is kind of like a traditional thing in many cultures.
Mhm.
You know, people in the Islamic cultures where
Oh man,
It's getting spicy. We're finding out all this information.
it's the CIA. They're like, it's like, you know what?
Where is the CIA?
Yeah, they're like,
Speaking of CIA, I'm hitting up AJ. He says he's about to join after he done talking with his coworker.
mhm.
Oh, we still live and they back.
Yeah. I'm trying to admit everyone at once. Hey, I'm trying to get everyone in at one time.
Yes, we might have.
let's see.
Yes,
Oops.
Edward is they're looking for Edward.
There we go.
There's Edward.
There's Edward. Okay.
Alright, so we're good. We're sorry about
Okay, sorry about that. We're back in action.
that. We're gonna take care of that one day.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. We need sponsors. That way, if you have sponsors, we won't have to do the student version of Zoom
There you
anymore.
go.
Yeah.
Get some sponsors. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Up and go.
Yeah, so you were talking about the turban, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I was
the
just
tradition.
giving a little bit of background on so many cultures that have been wearing the turbans for hundreds and thousands of years. I mean, in Africa, so many cultures where people wear turbans. And when in every culture where they don't wear turbans, you can see that they have some sort of hat going on, a crown.
Yes.
or
What is?
something
Oh,
tall.
is it a symbol of being a crown, like a king, or what is it?
It is. Honestly, it is. And that's just one aspect of the many aspects the turban represents. It's the symbolic aspect, right?
Mm.
So it's the symbolic aspect of the crown as a reminder that we all are ultimately royal and we can carry ourselves in this very royal way, because I don't know how much you guys know about the chakras and some stuff I talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but we have these different chakras to our body, and the
The
one
seven
which sits right on
chakras,
top
yes.
of our head, yeah, what?
The seven chakras, if I'm right.
That's the seven chakras, and that on top of your head is number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually called the crown chakra, because what it does, it connects you to the infinite source energy upwards, where we're all connected, and people have been calling that God or creation, universe, or say it doesn't exist. Honestly, it's the same thing, all of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what the turban does, the same way what every crown does, which every king was wearing or every queen, it's a reminder of your own internal royalty, and it's a reminder to be connected to the, etherical source energy which comes.
I like that you bring that up, because we were just talking about that in the car, about that connection to, you got to stay connected to the royalty of the ancient times of being back in the days of, we kind of, without even much information, even a child knows what a king and queen is.
Yeah.
If you tell
And they
a,
also know how to behave kingly.
Yes, I was saying the
which is
same
very
thing.
cool.
Without-
Doesn't mean being a dick, right? Or making other people do shit. for
yeah,
you.
like if you tell her to be a,
Taking leadership and taking responsibility for a bigger community
Yes.
or some constituency which you are in charge of, and if you fuck up, they all die and stuff. To
yes,
death,
it
right?
gives them that responsibility. As
Some
you said.
responsibility. in
Yes,
there.
yes. And we just spoke about this today. I was like, you could tell a child, are you acting like a good princess right now, or a good kid, a good prince? And instantly the child, without no knowledge of it, just have an idea of, I need to stand up tall, or they treat themselves differently, they present themselves differently, just off of the knowledge, just the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so here's the question. Do you wear the turban and do you wear your beard that length because you're Muslim or because you follow a certain religion, or do you wear it for another reason?
Well, it's a good question. I wore it for probably 20 years because I identified very closely as a Sikh from the Sikh religion. You guys know those guys who drive the taxis, right? With the big turbans and the beard. It's very different from Muslim. It's kind of like a different,
All the
different
taxi guys.
background story.
Yeah, they do a lot of architect around here. Like
Yeah.
they'll do the front of your house, like the fences and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and they pour a lot of
Artwork
cement.
is the Sikh.
Yeah.
And so for me, I identified as a Sikh for many, many years. And then just recently with moving to Mexico, living in India, being a Sikh is very normal. It's like living in New York, being a Sikh, or in the UK or something where there's Sikhs everywhere.
Yeah.
But here in Mexico, people don't know what a Sikh is. No, they don't know the difference between a Sikh and a Muslim and a Hindu. And for them, it's all just Osama bin Laden, right? And so I really realized...
Not gonna lie, you kind of look like Bin Laden, right?
No, it's not the first time I heard that.
You know, scaring New York right now.
So for me, it has become this thing where I'm saying like, okay, am I just wearing this thing because I want to follow some religious codes? Or am I really wearing this because I truly want to identify in my spirituality like that? And so I realized like, shit, I just like wearing the turban. I like having long hair. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried having long hair in your life.
I'm
Recently.
bald, so
I had my afro
All
as
over
of
your
last
face,
year. It
it's
feels
in your
good.
mouth, the wind blows, you don't see anything. It's shit. But I love having long hair.
Listen, as a human who has had 2 hair transplants after losing all of my hair to cancer, I would murder someone for a good head of long hair.
Oh, that I believe. I would probably do
in
the
my
same.
face or not. Like, give me that Brock O'Hearn hair. I want it.
He's like, let my hair grow back. He's like,
I want some hair too.
I want some hair.
Damn it.
Don't blind the screen.
So that's how it goes for me. I really found that the turban really helped me to be able to wear my hair long. Because, it works.
Yes.
Tuck it nicely in, a very practical thing. So that's the second meaning of the turban. And then there's the third one too. I don't know if you guys want to go into that, or it's getting boring enough.
No.
Listen,
Go ahead.
It's knowledge. People need to
All right, no more knowledge, Victor.
Yeah.
It's the real word.
What the turban does, it realigns those cranial bones, right? We all, like when you see the skull of a baby, all these bones are still movable. So we get older, they kind of fuse together. So what it does, it creates a pressure on the side of the head, which ends up elongating the head. And that elongation, it's very minimal, but it creates more space in your 6th chakra, which actually sits right here between the eyebrows, and creates more space for the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the pineal gland, all those super important glands which sit right there. And it's a little bit like, you guys seen Lord of the Rings, right? So it's the elves and all those really high level magical beings had those long elevated heads, similar with the aliens. And then you see those ogres, and everybody who just like goes, or hit with my club on the head, they're the ones with the round head.
Yeah, you don't
because
see
the
ogres.
roundness of the head compresses.
What are you trying to say about me?
And
I was gonna say, Edward.
small space. Okay, I want to hear what are you saying.
I said, what are you trying to say about me?
I was gonna say, Edward. Now we know why you was a jerk.
With the turban.
We gotta get Edward a turban, man. You'll be less of a jerk.
If you would have caught me about 12 years ago, I might have said yes. I'm not about to appropriate any of that.
So, Edward, are you religious, or did you grow up religious, or no?
I grew up Catholic. I don't know if we would call that religious, but
Shout to the Catholics.
No.
He's like, nah, take that back.
No shouts to them. I don't have, I think where my standpoint with that is just kind of like, obviously like spirituality or any kind of like pointing to a higher being of some form, like cool. But the organized religion of it all, to me, is just like the absolute reason why the entire world is a dumpster fire. So I don't really
Politics.
have a whole lot of, that's why we have separation of, and when that fails to happen, that's why we get to the place where we're at. And so like the organized title of it all, I'm not here for. But like if you want to have the things and do the things, then like by all means do it. I certainly believe that there is a higher power of some kind, but I'm not going to put a name to it. I'm not going to put a denominational title to it because I don't think
everyone's entitled to their own.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just how
some sort of spiritual practice which you do for yourself to connect with that?
Yes.
Well, it used to be bourbon, and then I stopped that.
We got one more. We got one more brother in this house, man.
Yeah. So for me now, it's I do like binaural sounds, and like I fall asleep to that, and I just kind of like am very centered in that way.
Yeah, super cool.
Yes.
So my brother just joined us.
Like with a music background, there's probably no surprise to you that I really love the vibrational, like hertz toning ideas.
The spiritual feeling.
Body. Yeah.
Well, it's music is such an easy way to connect with spirituality, and luckily none of the religions took that up.
Well, and not even just music, but vibration and sound in general.
That's a
100%.
deeper way of saying
Or
it.
really, sound and music is just such a great tool to hear sound vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my brother just joined us too. Shout out to AJ on the line.
Who is also an artist. Yes.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up, y'all?
Adrian.
That's good.
How's everybody doing?
Welcome
Good,
to the
how are you
party.
Chilling.
Good. It's looking late.
Let's see. Where do we recap? Fill them in.
Well, let's talk about more about what you guys do, because I know, Edward, you have a book and you provide services, right? Life coaching, I believe, and so does Amrit. Or do you guys?
I don't actually.
Oh,
no.
sorry. So I'm off. So maybe it's
No, I'm the life coach. I do that.
okay. Sorry.
I can focus on this book.
Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of things, but my book is my main driver right now.
Mm-hmm. I also saw that you do social media marketing too, or you do marketing.
Yeah, I work in like the online space with marketing and sales, which always, of course, ties into social media. And you know, it's a thing I've been doing like on and off for like the last probably 10 to 12 years, but I've really only kind of buckled down and started focusing on it within the last year and a half.
So do you apply those skills that you obtained through marketing to marketing your book?
Oh yeah.
Of course. Why not?
Such as, what are some
That's why it's
skills?
on Times Square next month on the billboard.
Yeah, you're gonna see him on the billboards, man.
They're
Yeah.
trying to be 55 feet high.
I hope you gotta take a selfie right where you're supposed to.
Oh, there's gonna be a camera crew, friends
Yes.
coming, where I might break my sobriety with some champagne. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's this really funny, I kind of articulated this the other day with some friends. It was like, as a teenager, when we would come to the city as a family to see shows on Broadway, I just had like this fantasy of like being on one of the billboards because I was starring in one of the shows. And that never happened, but I still get the billboard anyway because of something that I created. And so that's better for me. Like,
Yeah.
That's so amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. That
You should
feels
feel
better
proud,
because
yes.
it's something that I did instead of something I'm a part of.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be proud of.
So tell the people more about your book and where they can find it at.
You can find it on Barnes & Noble and Walmart.com and Apple Books, and pretty soon the Drama Bookshop in New York City is going to be carrying it, which is really exciting for me because it's my first
Represent.
brick and mortar, and obviously as a theater person, like that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just had my article, my interview with Authority Magazine just dropped today, which I had no idea when that was coming out.
Okay, we're gonna look for that.
I was like, oh hey. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of everywhere right now. The podcast situation thing right now, this is like my digital book tour in a sense. Because I'm not about to haul my ass all over the country to like show up at bookshops and be like, hi, maybe.
Yeah, you're modern.
This is, well, it's modern. It has a bigger reach, and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
To like sit at home than in a hotel room and having to like show up somewhere and hope people show up.
Yeah.
Respect.
So what made you want to come on The Real Word then?
You know what? We've been talking for a while, guys. I don't remember.
That water is hidden.
You've been right. I'm wasted on the H2O. You guys have been on my calendar for a little bit, so I honestly don't remember why. I think part of it was because I was like, "Oh, New Yorker is great."
Yeah, facts.
Respect.
Amrit, so tell people about your services that you provide and the things that you do, because I know you do life coaching, right? You on mute, my guy. Hit the mute button. The mute button.
I hit it.
Okay.
The church was ringing the bell in the background and lighting fireworks, so that's why I muted myself. That's how the church celebrates here in Mexico.
Oh,
Not the church.
On a Monday?
Well, it's for a good reason. I asked, why the fuck do we have fireworks at 5 in the morning all the way till 2 a.m.? And they are like, oh, it's to scare the bad spirits away. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. Burn the fireworks. I want the bad spirits
At that
away.
point, there ain't nothing else to say.
Disney made a whole
So
movie
now,
about it.
more bad spirits
Disney
left,
made a whole movie.
because they're very serious about lighting fireworks at this church.
Mm.
I'm all in. What was your question? Oh, the life coaching. I
Yes,
want
the
to
life
say,
coaching.
Most people probably don't know exactly what life coaching is.
We don't.
So the way I would explain it is, it's a little bit like a football coach, or an acting coach, or a singing coach. You just for someone's life. When you go to an acting coach and you say, I want to be an actor, I want to be successful, I want to get better, that coach will work with you and guide you to kind of coax out what's already there, right? And allow you to grow. And so it's the same for a life coach. The people who come to me with ideas and dreams, and that, for example, someone wants to build a business and is super excited about it, but sees all the challenge and is nervous and doesn't know if they can do it. And so my job as a coach is to show up for them and with them to support them in their process. To get them like all rallied up where they're like, oh yeah, I can sit on the computer and write stuff. And then when it starts dropping down again, and we have our next session and we talk about it and say like, okay, what do you need? What do you need to show up for yourself for another 2 weeks? And we talk about that, and then I walk away again, highly motivated to put in their reps, right? It's the same like when you have your football coach, you're still gonna have to do running and do push-ups so you can work on yourself. But when you have that motivation to do it and you know why you're doing it, it's much easier and much more fun and much more sustainable.
And more mental health.
So how do you market this to people? Like, what do you base it upon? Like, okay, if you were to come to me and offer me your services, what would you provide me that would be different from other life coaches?
Well, what I would do with you if you would come to me and say like, hey, I want to make a change in my life, and I know I tried many times by myself, it's not sustainable, so I want to bring in an expert to guide me through the process. What I would do with you is see how serious you are about it. We would do a session together and we would talk about your motivations and why you want to do it and where it really ties back down. And many people come to the point where they're like, yeah, I want to do all this, and my motivation is to make $1 million because I like money. And that's really not it, right? But if you can come to the point where you're connecting with your essence and with your heart and with the point where you're saying, I want to write a book about cancer because that's what expands me. That's where my path is. This is where my passion is at. And I know I have to get this done, but I keep tripping myself up in the process, and I need an ally to get through this because I know I have to get this book done. Yeah. That's the right point to get yourself a life coach and, really create some accountability in your life.
I say our community need that.
So what you think about that, AJ, about the life coaching?
Muted.
You on mute. You gotta hit the mute button. Hit the button.
No, I know I was on mute, but when I expanded it just disappeared. Nah, I feel like it's definitely good because a lot of people do need some type of guidance. I was actually thinking about getting into that, but maybe in a different way because there's other ways to do it, like mentoring and things like that. There's people that just they just a little lost, they get a little guidance on the road that they're on, or they just need better ways to cope with the anxiety and whatever things they got, or ways to handle things in their life. So life coaches are pretty beneficial when it comes to stuff like that. Or maybe somebody that got a mentor or somebody that can provide that type of guidance or wisdom. So that's a pretty cool service.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing because to have a mentor in your life is amazing. unfortunately, what happens with the mentors we have had in our life, and I'm sure it's the same for all of you as it's for me, is it's kind of a temporary thing. It's kind of people who just take a liking or have some, either your father or an uncle or grandpa or someone.
Just in the moment, they don't do it as a job, yeah.
No, and the thing is when you hire a life coach and you have your session on the calendar, like your life coach is going to show up for you. Yeah. It's not this energy imbalance where you have to call up your uncle for the 15th time in the last 3 months and saying like, hey, I need an hour of your time. And he goes like, shit. I could be sitting with my family right now, but I'm on the phone with my kid.
That's a major thing,
so
man. That's a major thing.
It's this, I found when people pay me and they make this commitment to themselves by saying, I'm going into this process and I'm paying you up front for it.
No, that's real.
They take it serious.
They
will show up. And guess what? I take it serious too, and I show up too.
Yes,
and
that's
so
real.
It's super powerful for people.
That's like the brother Allen in the sense of being a gym trainer. When people pay, they feel more committed to themselves. And mind you, he can do it for free.
Who's the gym trainer?
No, we have a friend. No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, he works out too, but we have a friend who is a gym trainer, and since people pay, they are more committed than when he was just offering the free service,
Does he still have some people who train with him for free?
Not as many.
Ask him next time how well those guys are performing and how much their progress has been.
Because
that's really what it comes down to. The second I offer my service for free, those are the clients who don't get much from the work with me. And the ones who pay full price are the ones who are jumping leaps and bounds ahead.
So
that is a similar space to which I work in as well, where you see people who are trying to get all the things for free and expect to like blow their business up or make $1 million or whatever, and it's the ones who put the most money and the most time and accountability into it. And in the space that I work in, it's like money is energy, and you put that forward and to get it back, and so the people that put $5, $10, $20, $30,000 into a program or a coach or something like that to build their business back up and make more money are the ones who actually get it done when they sit down and do the things and hold themselves accountable and show up for themselves.
Money creates commitment.
And really, I'm kind of a walking example of this too, where I got my book published, and then I was like, shit, I should hire a publicist. And so I spent the money on the publicist and all the other things that went along with having this book do the things and get where I wanted it to go. And here we are in billboard land. And it really is just like that, the accountability and the focus of what you want and going to get it, that I think people who seek out free whatever aren't going to have, because it's not the same kind of attention.
Dedication, yeah.
Versus if you would have paid tens of thousands of dollars for something, like you're paying attention to that.
Yeah. Or you are paying attention. And it's a spiritual concept. That's what I love about that too. Money and success and the way that flows and money and energy that's spirituality for me.
So, speaking of money with the women.
Oh yeah. So earlier we were having a conversation, right, about how with women there's a big transference of energy.
When it comes to compensation.
Yeah, when it comes to compensation, we do the physical exchange of energy where, during sex or during love, spending our time, they consume our time, and also the currency, the actual currency that we spend time and physicality
that gives them the commitment to be committed in a strange way.
Yes, but it's also it drains us in a way. Literally. So we talked about energy during this time. What do you guys think about that? The exchanging currency with your mate, and how is it affecting us?
Yes.
Well, I think the way that you're looking at it is kind of tit for tat, and that's not what it's about. There's a reciprocity that needs to happen with energy, of course. When you put it out, you would like to get it back, but it's putting it out without the expectation of getting it back. It's doing it for the sake of doing it and not doing it to get something. Because when you get into that territory, then that's a totally different kind of
Well, is that fair? What is fair?
It doesn't matter if it's fair. It's true with all things in life, whether you're talking about relationships or otherwise.
100% agree.
Like I will quote a musical on Broadway right now, as is true for form for me. It's called Shucked. It's hilarious. Go watch it. But Alex Newell is in it, and someone says to her, "Life isn't fair," and she goes, "Of course life isn't fair. If life were fair, mosquitoes would suck fat, not blood."
Wow.
That would be a nice exchange.
Yeah. So like it's not about the fairness. It doesn't matter what the fairness is. It's the intention of how and why you're putting your energy forward. So if you're putting your energy forward into a partner or a relationship with the expectation that you are going to get the same back, then you're already doomed.
Ooh,
You need to
we
do
were
it
talking
for
about
the
that earlier.
Yeah,
You
don't
need to
expect
do
it
for the
back.
the selflessness and the act of doing it in the first place.
It's almost like Superman.
Will it come back? Yes, that is how energy works. But if it's misdirected,
Expectation.
then the energy you're going to get back is misdirected.
Yes, we gotta have this on repeat for the young bloods out there. Yes, we gotta have this highlighted on repeat.
Amrit, you've been married for a very long time, right? So tell us about
20 years now.
So tell us about, from your point of view, like, do you agree with Edward? Is it an unfair exchange of energy?
I agree 100% with Edward. I think it was super spiritual the way he explained it and super clear. And I can tell you from my experience of having been in a monogamous relationship for 20 years, it is super challenging. You know how my teacher put it? He said, marriage is the highest form of yoga because it will challenge you at such a personal level that you can't hide from that other person, which becomes so close of your mirror. It's much easier when it's someone you just met or you've been with for a couple of months.
You don't gotta reveal everything.
I got my mind, you'll go over there, you know, I don't have to look so closely. But when you share life with another human being that close, you will see all your bullshit reflected in them right back in your face. And that's really uncomfortable because, you know, even though you tell them they should just change and for you to feel better, they apparently don't get it. They don't want to change.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's real.
And it's the same the other way around. Imagine your wife's telling you guys to change and you're going like, I'm not changing. You can pretend, but that's not how it goes. Right?
I am who
so
I
it's
am.
this self-reflection tool. For me, that's what marriage is like. And you can blame it on the other one and say like, oh yeah, because of this, you know, this relationship didn't work. But ultimately, if you have someone who, you know, treats you well and sticks to the agreements you guys made together, then that's a person to stick with, because you switch to the next partner, guess what? You're gonna get the same story on repeat and be like, why is it that all the people who come to me do the same things?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not them, it's you.
Yes.
Me and Kimmel spoke about this on our way home, right? We spoke about marriage, and we spoke about the transference of energy, and we spoke about how by the time you meet someone for marriage, they're already stuck in their ways. They are who they're gonna be, and it's either we accept them the way that they are, and we live with them that way, and
well, I think you're looking at this as a very all or nothing kind of thing.
No. I'm not saying all or nothing. Let me finish.
People are always and constantly changing. So to go into something thinking that that person is stuck in their ways and you either have to adapt to them or you're stuck, then it's kind of like that's not real. Like people, you're not.
So you don't believe in the can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Not really. I mean, unless you are purposefully putting a wall up that's saying I do not want to learn anymore, I am done. Then you're not the same person you were last year or 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
True, we are constantly growing.
Your brain is still growing and learning.
Yeah.
So coming into a relationship and saying, "Oh, this person is stuck in their ways," first of all, you're not giving them enough credit. And you're kind of already cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like, why would you go into a job thinking, going to a job interview thinking you're not getting the job? Why would you even show up then?
But I would, let's
get it interesting.
Let's stick to both analogies, right? I would say that you and I was talking about it. By the age of 14, 15, you're basically developed your personality, who you are, and you have your character traits and the people.
Absolutely not true. Your brain doesn't stop developing until you're 25.
Okay.
So between the ages of 14 and 25,
Edward.
Still learning.
Edward, I let you finish, so you gotta let me finish, because you're cutting me off every single time I'm going.
New York moment.
So that's fine. Like, we're gonna respect our differences, but we're gonna let each other talk. So, though, yes, as you continue to grow in age and with wisdom and experiences, you're gonna obtain additional memories, aspects, skills, and things that are gonna shape you. But at the same time, you're still going to have that foundation that you have created throughout your life that you're still going to continue to carry with you. We're not going to say that someone is not going to change, but they're still going to have old habits. Human beings in general are creatures of habit, I would say. So though they are going to learn new things, that's like, okay, you use the job analogy. I'm going to go to a job interview knowing whether or not I'm not going to get the job. But let's just say someone goes into a job interview for an executive and they're in the junior level. They're going to know that they're not going to get their job, but they're going to show anyways. But that's like someone going into college for the first time. Even if they go out of state or they go to in-state, they're going to feel like, okay, I'm going to come in with my principles, whether it's religion, the neighborhood I grew up with, whether it's I'm part of a club, whether I'm going to join a new club that's going to change the way I think, or whether I'm going to obtain a degree or a new state of knowledge that's going to change me.
You're saying they know they feel.
My principle.
They know they feel.
Like, I know who I was before I got here. Whether or not I changed some things about me, I'm going to still be me. Like me, for an example.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, I went to school in Brooklyn, but at the same time, afterwards, I went to school at Fordham. Like, yeah, the people in Fordham is very different from the people from City Tech, but I'm still the same me. You understand? So, like, that's how I see it. Though you might see a different Edward, I'm just saying from my point of view.
No, of course, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's kind of hard to hear you guys sometimes, but like, what the point that I'm trying to make is that, like, we always 100% of the time choose what we learn, what we change, how we maneuver, and being stuck in your ways is just choosing to be stuck in your ways, you know, and that's an identity piece that you kind of adhere yourself to. And yes, there are a lot of factors that go into that, but if you decide one day that you no longer want to wear the color red, you don't have to wear the color red anymore.
You said give them the benefit of the doubt, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and coming into it from a place, you know, like the example of you going into a job for an executive when you're at a junior level. What if that executive really likes you and thinks that you're ambitious and likes what you have to bring to the table? If you never go to that job, you're never going to know.
I see.
So, like,
Well, I dealt with that in real life last week, right? It was.
I mean, totally. Like, listen, musical theater and auditioning for things, if you tell yourself before you get there, I'm not going to go, they're never going to give me the job.
You already
Then
failed.
you are not going to get the job because you've already decided.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
There you go.
Well, there was a girl that came in to interview with me last week for case management supervisor, and she was just hired. Yeah, she was cute. But she had just got the case management position 6 months ago, and I'm like, you barely know step one. How you gonna be able to be a supervisor of those that you only got 6 months experience to do?
She was ready to get promoted again.
She was ready for that job, and I said no. I said no.
Honest opinion.
Yeah, she wasn't ready. Like, she was ambitious, and she thought maybe pretty privilege could have pushed her to the next level, but it didn't work. It did not work. Because we were looking for someone that fit that standard and fit that mold. Regardless if she felt like she was ready, like, as the hiring manager that held that responsibility, I felt like she wasn't, and I had to make that decision.
Well, I'm gonna take from this that don't focus too much on the other side. I get what Edward is saying. I already told you I get what you're saying too. But I take from this, don't focus too much on the other side in terms of more about reasoning for what you're doing it for. Like, why you're even with this person. Don't worry too much about what they're doing. You can't really control if they grow or not. Whether they are growing or whether they're not, you never know. It's like that, you know, kind of, you just don't know.
But you would want them to.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because that's taking responsibility for your half of the relationship. This is something which got me to be 20 years in a relationship, is where I get to choose every single day again to be in a relationship and be with this woman who's my wife. I don't have to be with her. I can, like, pack my bags and be off to Germany and do my own thing.
Yeah.
I choose to be here because that's what I want. And guess what? Who holds 100% responsibility for that choice every day?
You do. Yeah.
Not her. when she crosses my imaginary line, where I say, okay, this is my line and this is where it's over, then it's also my responsibility, because ultimately I need to choose to either leave or I need to choose to stay. Mm-hmm. Or I can choose to be a chicken and just go like, I just want my partner to change.
Yeah,
so
fight.
And she cheats on me and she spends all my money and blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I need to make the choice. And so that's where it gets interesting. So,
somebody putting gunshots in the back.
They
boom,
shooting.
boom, 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 boom.
So let me ask you a question, Amrit. Within those 20...
Sorry, before you ask, I need to be off in 5 minutes.
We are closing, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna close in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 18 seconds exactly.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you, within those 20 years, did you or her ever think about leaving?
Daily.
He's honest. He's honest.
It's that hard, yeah, of course. I mean, we run into each other all the... I don't know what goes on in her head. I think she's probably a little bit less
playing her side, yes.
Me, but for me, like, it's been one of my standard responses since I'm little in many relationships before this one. You know, shit doesn't go the way I want it, I run. And so when I got with this woman who is actually, she also chose to stay for 20 years, every single day. Right? She could have ran.
True.
But so this is where we are. This is what we have together. And hopefully that lasts for another 20 years. And maybe it only lasts for another 2 days. But for today, that's the choice we are both making.
Amen.
And it's super powerful.
That's powerful. That's enough.
So about you, AJ, I see you in and out. Are you there now? Do you have anything to comment on this or no?
Mm-hmm. Relationship.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, I've dealt with a situation like that where, like, where you can, especially from life experience, where it just makes you jaded, right? Where you start thinking, like, man, some people don't change, some people are just stuck in their ways, and then you start to learn that people use that as their, like, kind of to protect themselves, keep their guard up in ways, like, because they probably come up like you said, they already have a certain view of, it could be men, it could be black people, white people, whatever their prejudices, and so they already got that set. So now they don't even get things a chance to succeed. So that's, you know, when you would say, hey, things already failed before it start. That's probably what we experience when we run into people that you feel like, hey, they
like you said, jaded,
because they already got that guard up of like, yeah, why am I even going to do this, blah blah? Because I already know what's going to happen, you know, just because of maybe what they've been through before. And it's crazy because some people, they'll feel that way. Oh, this is already going to be doomed. But deep down inside, they want to be like that person they were back in the day, where like they feel like, oh yeah, you know,
where they had hope.
I believe in things. Yeah. So it's like they got two things battling internally. And that's where these toxic things come from, because like they want to be together, but they don't want to be together. You know, they want to try, but they don't want to. They want to completely try because like it's almost like the lottery, like you know, or gambling. They want to put in something and lose something or get hurt or whatever. And that's why I always tell people, like, you know, that's what dating is. That's what relationships are. It's like you have to take that chance, that opportunity. You have to put yourself out there. Yeah, you might get hurt, but what if you don't? You know, and for people that just a little too scary for them. So they rather just do the whole like, hey, if I'm catching feelings, I'm just gonna fall back. Well, let me just put myself first in everything I do. That way, if it don't work out, I can't say this. Or let me not spend this type of money on you or energy, because then if you go do this, then I can know that at least.
Speaking of money, we was talking about that. Yeah, you gotta put the money in. Gotta commit.
Yeah, so
that's okay too. That's the beautiful thing of the whole game. There is no right or wrong answers here.
Yeah.
You just choose to live your life like that.
Yeah.
But you can't walk around complaining that everybody else is so mean and you don't have real lasting love.
Yeah.
Right, and it's ridiculous because, you know, like you meet people, they want a bigger commitment from you than what they willing to give themselves, and that's when things start to get thrown off. It's like, okay, you can't ask more from others than what you willing to give yourself. Like if you want to give exactly what you're asking for, I can understand that. You know, like you're not demanding more than what you're willing to put out. But when people demanding more than what they're willing to put out, then that's when the balance is all out of whack and your chakras is all thrown off and everything like that. Or something, but
we was just talking.
But they said it is uneven exchange of energy according to Amrit and Edward. You guys said it's uneven, and AJ, I seen
but you say this that way when it's genuine. Like if you that type of person that's like you're not expecting something back. But a lot of people are expecting something back. Let's be real. Like humans, like a lot of people are on some "what's in it for me" type of mentality.
The majority
of these, and I'm expecting this in return. Like if a girl's gonna do something for you, she expecting a ring at the end of the day. Like we already know. Oh, the dude's doing something, and he expecting something at the end of the day as well. Like everybody's expecting something. Like it's pretty rare when somebody's just like, I'm gonna do this and do this, that, and that, and put myself out there with you. I'm not gonna expect nothing, no matter the way you talk to me or treat me or look at me. Don't worry about it. Blah blah. That's very hard to find. I'm not saying it's impossible or not out there, but that's very hard. Most people are really like, okay, but if I do this, and because people, I know me, I live by the code of treat people how you want to be treated. So if I treat you, genuine, nice, whatever, I do expect to be treated that way back. If you don't, then it's not like I'm gonna be mad about it, but I just know that I'm not gonna waste my energy on that relationship. You feel me? I'm gonna go where that energy
is reciprocated. Just finish that word, fam.
Yeah, man. It's the real word, man.
Closing thoughts. We gotta close up, right?
Yeah, facts. We do gotta close up. We got that time.
Yeah.
But this is the last one.
I knew it got too. Once we talk about relationships, that's like an episode by itself. That's an episode by itself once we start talking about relationships, man.
Yeah. It cut off for a little bit.
Y'all kicked me out?
Nah, we got the studio account, so it's only every 30 minutes. After every 30 minutes, it cut off. We gotta come back in.
That's what my I was saying, I'll just go to where that's more appreciated, and that's a form of self-preservation as well, because you never know, like all that negative energy could start changing the pureness of what you are as well, like. So it is good to be where like that positive energy is, where that's accepted and appreciated too, and just learn it from those experiences. Like you pick up on signs of like, you know what, I'm not gonna be appreciated here. I'm not gonna be able to be myself here and be and be the 100% best person I can. Let me go to some place in an environment where I can be. So that's just the way.
It's supposed to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My closing thoughts, I just hearing all of this, I know my closing thoughts is just, keep your hope, Hope for the best and just do your best, That keeps you going no matter what. And even in the darkest times, it was like hope that just keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm keeping it.
Well, and also if I can say too, I cannot drive this point home hard enough, is that everything is a choice. Mm-hmm. Like the job that you're in, if you don't like it, you have the choice to leave. And, we're all smart enough and capable enough to go find a different one.
Yeah.
Especially in New York. Like there are jobs in every corner here. And I know people love to pretend that they're not, but there are.
They are.
And even if it's just to like hold you over until the next thing comes along, like I bartended for years, like waiting for the next thing to come along, and I finally got so tired of waiting that I was like,
you just went for it. Yeah.
And I made the choice to stop and look for something else, and I found it. And it really is, whether it's relationships or professional or how you're treated or treat people, you decide who you hang out with, how you treat people, how you maneuver in the world.
Amen.
And making that decision intentionally and on purpose will just clear so many paths for you.
Yes. All right. Mm-hmm. Closing thoughts. I love it.
Closing thoughts, AJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like what I said before was a good closing thought, but yeah.
Yeah, I take it. I take it.
To put out the energy. Thanks to all those guests that joined in and gave their wisdom. We're very appreciated. I hope everybody, just keep an open mind and try to, be open to that possibility that's going to come, whether it's in love or work or whatever.
Yeah.
Man. I just want to say thank you to all the guests that came on. Shout out to Edward, shout out to Amrit, shout out to AJ, shout out to Kimmel that's here with me every week. And shout out to all of you guys that continue to watch. My closing thought would be like, I just want to thank God for the Real Word, the platform where we're able to bring people from diverse different backgrounds and different ideas where you can come and talk about these everyday conversations that we otherwise would not be able to have. And so shout out to Podmatch, of course, as well for helping us to connect with our guests that came on today. And shout out to all of you for your continued support. If you like this episode, you can check us out on The Real Word TV. That's one word, The Real Word TV on YouTube. That's youtube.com/The Real Word TV. We're also on the Brick Network every Tuesday and Thursday at 12, at 2, and at 4. You can also catch us at on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, and Soundcloud, wherever podcast is found. And also on Instagram at The Real Word Ministries Inc. and Facebook, The Real Word TV, facebook.com/TheRealWord7.
I'm gonna let you finish, but the party's outside. I'm trying to go outside. You don't hear that?
Right. So that is the real word. So go ahead, close out with a word of prayer. Go ahead.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, Motherly Nature, thank you for blessing our spirits and thank you for bringing us together another wonderful day. Keep us alive and strong and bless our journeys as we represent something good. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Good night. God bless you.
Yeah.
It's the real word. It's the real